There we
There
go.
he is.
Yeah.
There he is, the big guy. What's up, man?
We're doing good. How about you?
Doing great, doing great. We're sitting here with the facility. Got our PitchLogic Pro app open right now. Pretty
Yeah, I got you.
excited.
Right?
Got a pretty good scuff on it, so we'll see how it goes. I just had a throw here a second ago just to test it.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The iPad Pro 12, I'm real excited because this is our best camera iPad. So that's
Yeah.
this is the key, I think, to the whole thing for guys that are it goes to 4K, it does 120, it allows you to do fisheye, the 60 frames per second. The fact that you can toggle through that is tremendous.
Yeah.
That for everything. So I really love how I can go 240, like 240 inside of this right here is unreal. I love what it allows me to do to go through. But what I wanted to do today was reintroduce you to our audience, all the Cutternation people on here that that follow us here. And I was hoping you could walk me through the app as far as like what you were adding to what we got going on here, and I feel like an on-screen explanation from the guy that wrote the code, right? I feel like that's the best way to attack this.
Me and a couple of other people, but yeah, absolutely. So PitchLogic, we introduced last year. We spent a lot of time trying to make PitchLogic was as great of a product as it could be. And we brought it out, and we've had a lot of great success with that. And partially thanks to you, John. Appreciate all your help, helping people understand it. PitchLogic Pro, what we're trying to do is bring some new high-end pitching lab capabilities, like some of the capture, and I think you'll show people all of that lets you really take a deeper dive into new ways of capturing your pitch and new ways of it. And the thing that we're really trying to emphasize with this is the pre-release, the delivery phase, because all the products out there are centered around the idea of what happens after the ball leaves your hand, and which is great, but training, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with what happened before the ball left your hand. So that's kind of what was driving us with PitchLogic Pro. PitchLogic Pro you don't need it for every situation. PitchLogic is still, a premier product in every way. So PitchLogic Pro is there when you need it. If it fits your task, then it's great. But it's just an add-on to PitchLogic, so it's just building on top of PitchLogic. So that's kind of the background of that. Some of the things that we've added here, and your picture's backwards, so it's going to completely throw me off, right? But
hold on, I could switch it.
Oh,
there we go. How about that? There we go.
Yeah. So let me just start in the upper left where you see that 3D view. That's right. So we call that the 3D clock face. And you might tap on the old clock face for just a second. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that clock face is showing you the yellow is your arm slot and the blue is your spin direction, the direction of the brake. And the brake force is how much bite you've put into that pitch. I think everybody kind of gets that by now. Go ahead and 3D version then. And here what we're doing is we're doing a number of things. First of all, we still have the yellow and blue arrows, and that's the same information as you have on the 2D clock face. But what we're adding is three important things. One is that that blue circle is showing your spin in 3 dimensions. Okay, so that's how it's spinning in 3 space. So if you're looking through to home plate, that's what the spin axis is looking like. So you can see here you've cut the ball a little bit. The second thing is that fingerprint is showing you where the ball came off of your finger. That's the last point of contact right there between your finger and the ball. And that orange line is kind of showing you how the ball kind of rotated out of your hand. Okay, so in this case, you're just slightly off axis of the spin, and that's where that cut came from. Okay, so but if you're looking at grip, if you're looking at problems with like spin efficiency, that's a great way to help visualize what's going on with all of that. The other thing that's going on in there is you see that ball It's the black ball with the gray lines on it. That is showing you the orientation of the ball at the point of release. So those seams and the charging logo and all that, that is how the ball was looking right as it came out of your hand. So if you are,
That's interesting. Right.
yeah. So if you're looking at grip or even some of the laminar flow stuff that gets talked about, that's a great starting point with all of that.
Right. Yeah, I really like all the visual for this right here. Obviously, I can't touch it, but I did feel like I cut that one, and we can look over here at the video. Now, this is the cool thing that I didn't film this in 240, but the fact that it stores right over here in the video right here, where I have all of the throws right here, is unbelievable. So I can go back, I can watch the throw. It's super crisp and clean. This is what I was really excited about with the 240, this iPad, when we got the update, and we can grab it, pull it back, do what we want with it here. This
Yep.
is going to be huge for athletes, being able to see, watch when their hands come in there. And you can see that even when I throw this ball just a little bit, nice and cold, right? You can
Yep.
see it cut out of my hand, right? So
Yep.
the visual that's going on with this 3D representation right here is tremendous. So it was obvious that I cut that right there, right? I got into some nice hip to shoulder separation right there, nice and cold. Arms on time right there, turn the back foot, boom, throw right there, ball runs up a little bit on it. So very, very, very awesome stuff right there on that particular throw, especially just, picking it up and throwing. I mean, being able to calibrate your throw as a pitcher or just
Yep.
as a thrower and understand, why the ball is cutting. And in our opinion, the spin of the ball is the most important. So the fact that this can, break it down and help you with that is tremendous. It's tremendous.
Well, the in-app video I'm really excited about because, it's the ball's doing all the editing. So you just set the camera up, set the iPad up, you hit go, and then you throw your bullpen. And it's going to do all the edits and give you a set of clips, one for each pitch, that you can go review later. You don't have to be there fiddling with. We don't like people having to deal with the technology. The technology is great, but really, when you're in a bullpen, you need to be focused on your pitch. So we're trying to handle itself. So that self-editing, auto-editing, whatever you want to call it, is a fantastic part of keeping you focused on your game, because the technology is awesome, but it doesn't play the game for you.
Right. The auto capture is tremendous. When you're throwing your bullpen, as long as you can get yourself and understand what your come set, it says half a second. We like to be a little cautious. I tell everybody 2 seconds, as most baseball players don't stop their feet. They still have a little bit of movement.
Yeah.
But really just, getting them into that rhythm, really allowing them to catch their breathing along with it too. And so being able to take your time, come set, be ready to go, and then rip your pitch and then go back later, right? If your coach is watching this from right here, you shouldn't be slowing down your rhythm of your bullpen unless you're missing tremendously for too much. But you should be able to throw the ball to your catcher or your target, do what you need to do, and then go back afterwards and review it. Or like what we are doing, where we broadcast it up on our TVs. Actually, I should go ahead and do that real quick. We actually love to put it right up here.
Airplay.
On the bottom. Yeah, we Airplay. So we've got an awesome Wi-Fi network that allows us to Airplay in 4K, and then put it right there. There we go. So we love to put it right here for guys, right? And we're going to have two. I've got more space. I'm pretty excited for the future. If you can't tell, we got space over there for some more of them, right?
Yeah.
But this is tremendous too, right? Because we can go in, and if I'm looking at the throw, now I can see it on the TV, right? So this is what we love about it. We can go in on the TV, right? Practice safe social distancing and keep working on the things that we need to, and it pops up right there, right? So just a trick for guys. If anybody isn't into Apple AirPlay, the Apple TV is really, you can save yourself a lot of money getting a cheap TV and then adding an Apple TV to really do the best of what you need, so you can keep working yourself on it.
It's real easy to use, yeah. And you can throw your pitch. You want to stop and look at something, you can, or you can just keep rolling with it. It's all up to you. And the results come back instantly. And I think you've shown that, so that you throw the ball, you don't have to wait for the results. You don't have to wait for the video. It's right there, ready to go, so that you don't have to break up your flow. And we think that flow is important, and worked hard to keep that in place.
Right, right.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. You cut out. Yeah.
Oh,
So why don't we take us? Let's go down to the next one, the movement here.
yeah.
Let's look at that as as a unit here. And once you walk me through this new little tab right here, this is exciting too. Being able to lost it for a second. Sorry, tripod got a little crazy on me right there. Once you walk me through that right there.
Yeah, so we did a couple of things with movement. One is this chart gives you a scatter chart of your movement of your last 10 pitches. So like you see, the brightest ball is your newest ball, and they get smaller and dimmer as you go back in time. So you can see all of your pitches, how well you're holding your pattern, that sort of thing. Or if you're throwing curveballs versus fastballs, you'll see that group, the separation between those two, and so on. The other thing that we did is more hidden, but we created we upgraded our flight system internal to the ball that measures what your movement numbers are, because previous you would throw the ball and we would give you the movement numbers when the ball was caught, or if you're throwing into a net, hit the net. So if you're trying to throw into a net 15 feet away, you're getting your movement numbers at 15 feet, which is just not very useful in retrospect. We wanted to make sure that we were giving you the actual measured data, but we also realized there's a lot of shortcomings to that. So in this release, what we're doing is we're showing you the movement at 55 feet every time. So if you throw the ball across home plate, 55 feet from when it leaves your fingertip, that's the movement. And we think that approximates where home plate is. So you'll be able to compare all your movements to each other, from one bullpen to the next without any question. But the other feature we did is if you're throwing short into a net, say at 15 feet, this flight system takes the aerodynamic data that's measured, and then it allows it to understand what the movement would have been at 15. So again, even if you're indoors in a short space or a hotel room, we've actually had guys throw a ball into the couch in a hotel room, which I'm not recommending that because there's a lot of glass there. You can do it. You'll still get the right movement numbers for 55 feet. And that allows you to have a lot of flexibility with your training space without having any compromise in your data that you're using to compare. So you can, if you're down your base throwing into a short space there, you can show those numbers to your coach and he can still see what your movement would be. So we think that's fantastic.
And so you're talking about right here in this region right here.
Yeah, the movement numbers there at 55 feet, and then also the movement numbers in the movement chart itself to the left. Those numbers are also that 16 inch and 4 inches. That's at 55 feet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
So that's a projected, right. Okay. Yeah, because I was even on this throw, I'm definitely short. Probably, if we look at this right here, I'm probably about 35, 40 feet away from the target, not quite up the mound completely. So
Right.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah. Because that way you can compare them. So when you're outside throwing or in a longer space, you're going to get the same numbers. So we think
That's important. For sure. That's tremendous. That is absolutely tremendous. Okay. All right, what's the next thing? Go ahead.
Well, that middle area where you're focused right now is the other space. I think everybody's familiar with our backwards and forward extension numbers. 6.3 is spot on, John. Well done. But we also added the time, and we don't know exactly how that's going to get used yet. But the extension numbers have to do with your form, but they have a lot to do with your timing as well. And so we think that these numbers, as people sort of develop a feel for them, will start understanding how much time you need as part of your delivery and getting to the point of release. And so that took 1.2 seconds from where you started your delivery to the point of release. Next to that is the angle of release and the speed. So the speed we understand, 74.0, I guess. But you're also getting your angle of release. So you had 1 degree of upwards launch angle. And then when you get down to the 55 feet, what you're seeing there is what was the approach angle. So, we all understand that speed is harder to hit. Curveball, you're trying to create some uncertainty where the placement is. But approach angle is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, some, but not a lot, is if you can if you can make that ball come into the plate at a steeper angle, at a shallower angle, those things can also make the ball equally as difficult to hit and harder to judge in some ways. So we think that that's going to give you a kind of expand your opportunity for building a more challenging pitch is by looking at that approach angle. And just so you know, that's in the right there.
You're saying this one right here, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because so I'm a guy that throws 7 pitches, and my curveball angle to my slider angle to my cutter angle should all be different, right?
Yeah.
And so those are different, like you said, attack angles, and we think of them as like moves, pitches, video game kind of stuff right there. And this actually can quantify that. Makes a lot of sense, right? Obviously, the fastball that I threw would have a very shallow angle, right? It was just a throw for the ball to go straight, which is showing that the ball is straight as it goes. So I'm real interested to see what those numbers are going to be. Me messing around with the beta, I kept looking at these right here, and I was waiting for this idea. I wanted you to walk me through it to see what that is. So that's very, very interesting right there.
Well, the other number below it is the speed as the ball comes across the plate at 55.
Right.
And that is also telling you, speed at release is important. And that is right at release, but it gives you an idea of how much velocity gets lost as you head towards the plate. So when you're working on your fastball, those two numbers tell you quite a bit about what the batter is experiencing. How much speed is he when it comes across, and how much, what's the approach angle doing. So we're trying to help you understand what happens at both ends of that pitch.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Because obviously curveballs would be spinning different directions, so they should be slowing down as it's getting there, as well as a changeup or a splitter.
Right.
Really, I think that's going to help guys understand why their curveball is too fast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then if you can click on the that ground tab, like you said, I'm just trying to rate this stuff. So if I don't go deep enough, let me know. But
okay, this is great. If you want
to practice long toss indoors, this is what you want to do right here. So what long this does is it says this is where the ball, how far the ball would have gone in the approach angle if nobody ever caught it. How far would it have gone around? So in this case, the ball would have gone 64 feet before it hit the ground. And so if you're trying to do,
or you mean 84? Is that what you're saying? It's saying 84, or you're saying that's miles per hour right there? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, thank you for that.
That's okay. That's all. Just making sure we're on the same page. That's all.
Yeah, it's like